I'd rather create something that others criticize than create nothing and criticize others.
If you have high quality product behind the bar, it's like a weapon.
It's not about the figures. It's about who those figures are.
The Hospopreneurs Podcast.
I'm going to drink this beer.
Yeah, let's crack them.
With James Henderson.
Hello and welcome to episode 60 of the Hospopreneurs Podcast. Today I'm joined by Joshua Clifton, author of the Hospitality Survival Guide and founder of MasterHost Coaching, a hospitality consulting business. Josh also founded the Cafe Owners Network, one of the largest and most engaged Facebook groups of its kind in Australia. We met almost 2 years ago on Instagram and instantly clicked. In addition to being incredibly passionate and knowledgeable about the hospitality industry, Josh is an all-round amazing guy and shares many insightful ideas on the episode ahead. Hello and welcome to the show, Josh.
Thanks for having me.
No worries at all, mate. No worries at all. As you know, the first question I like to ask is, what is your crazy hospitality story?
Crazy hospitality. You know, I've listened to a lot of your episodes and I've heard these stories and I've always been intrigued by everyone's story. And I thought, what would I say to that question if it was given to me? And I think for me is something that we actually talked about earlier was the fact that I get to interact with thousands of people every year, you know, hundreds every day. And to me, it's crazy, that amount of communication and fun that I can have with random people every single day and create amazing experiences for them.
Yes.
And no other industry offers that. No other profession has that much engagement other than the hospitality industry. And I find it really special that to me is the craziest thing for me. Like, I get to meet amazing people every day and I'm very blessed and happy to be that.
Interesting. An interesting angle on the crazy hospitality story question.
I know, I'm sorry. I have so many crazy stories,
yeah.
You know, but, you know, some are probably M-rated or a bit higher, so we won't go there.
M-rated is totally fine. We do swear on the show. But by before, you obviously mean before the show as well. We obviously haven't talked about it on the show, but a cool direction to go down. Thank you. I mean, I actually want to go super deep with the answer and like return listeners will be familiar with the fact that I like to get philosophical. And when you say the volume of people that we pump through, I think about like the idea of infinity and just like the sheer volume makes me think about how massive the customer base is that we have, right? And as you said, no other industry is like that. And you know, except maybe sales, because their sole purpose is to pump volume, unless it's B2B. But let's say customer serving business, right?
Sure.
You just got to pump that volume. It's interesting because we're not explicitly selling a product to someone, we're selling an experience.
100%.
So it's a totally different kind of sale. And that's what I'm really excited by as well.
Well, and that's it. Like, people are coming to us for fun, to experience something outside of their daily lives. You know, people go to cafes, bars and restaurants as a means to exit from their daily life and have fun and enjoy themselves. And when you really break it down, it's really special to be a part of that because they're already coming in to see us in a happy state and we get to provide that experience for them. And look back on your life and think about all the amazing moments you've had with the people you've had, and I guarantee it was in a cafe, it was in a bar, it was in a restaurant, it was surrounded by friends and family and those sort of environments. And you know, I think we forget sometimes that that's a special industry to be a part of.
Yes. There's we're obviously going to touch on this concept more later in the episode. We'll talk a little bit more about your book that's coming out soon.
Sure.
But before we do, I like to go super macro and ask why you do what you do.
Because I love people. I love talking to people. I love learning about people, how they think, why they think, things that they do, and the questions. And I just fell in love with the industry because of that. I enjoy creating amazing experiences for people. I enjoy being a host, someone who can deliver an experience and make someone happy, you know what I mean? Because their happiness is my happiness. And from a young age, I've always been in that place where I've just got so much joy from other people's joy, from creating something where they had a magic experience. And obviously, as we just talked about, the hospitality industry is that idea. And from then up until now, what I want to do and where I want to go is leaning into that support state now. So we've got this amazing industry with amazing operators in Australia, and I want to create a support network and guidance and direction for them, because I feel like as much as there is support and information out there, I believe it needs to be updated. I believe there needs to be more information available, because I just feel with every other industry, there's so many support networks and instructions and how-to guides and those sort of things. But the hospitality industry, it's kind of almost that wing it mentality. You know, we'll just give it a go. We'll see what happens, and I feel like if we had more support and education and more groups to help that grow, we could take it even further.
Again, like you have taken action on that already. With the Facebook group that you have. Tell us about the Facebook group.
Yeah, so the Australian Cafe Owners Network, that was developed a couple of years ago with the idea of connecting cafe operators together. Basically, my career spanned nearly 20 years next year, and I started in nightclubs, went to bars, went to restaurants, and the last probably 7 years I've been in cafes. And I've met some amazing people in cafes, and I've had the privilege of working with some people who have done amazing things and other people who've had to close their business because it wasn't working. And I always thought, like, why isn't there a support group for these amazing people? And because there's just so many cafes everywhere, but where's the support network? So I started the Cafe Owners Group a couple of years ago, and then probably in the last 7 months or so, I really wanted to push it and share it with the rest of Australia. So we shared it amongst all the barista groups and other groups and those things, and it's just exploded. We're getting member requests, dozens daily now. And it's not so much the numbers I'm worried about, it's the engagement. We're coming up to around the 1,000 mark at the moment. But it's the level of engagement. It's that place where people are so comfortable to talk openly with other people. It's a safe place. And I think that's what's missing in that sort of support network, is people need to feel comfortable. It's a very private industry. It's like we talked about, sort of that wing it mentality, I'll give it a go. But the group is just, blown out, and we're getting comments straight away. People are asking comments, either it's about how do I hire a new chef? I'm having trouble with my POS system. Can anyone recommend a good roaster? How can I get my team to listen to me more? Just things like that. And it's just the amount of support and network they have with each other is amazing.
So how did you foster an environment that made people comfortable talking about those sorts of personal business issues?
Just talked basically how I described it. I went to these groups and I said to them, look, I want to create a place where cafe operators can come in, and within the group we had some very strict guidelines. Only people who own a cafe or who are an very high enthusiast or a barista or something like that can come in. And we just had some very big ground rules. Basically just said, look, this is what it's about. Obviously I do consultancy as well, and sharing my information through that as well. I'm doing weekly lives, just giving back, giving as much information as I can to help these guys grow. And they really responded to that. I had to sort of kick it off, to get them to show that, hey, this is legit, this is a real group, you can be safe here asking anything, and just constantly giving them information, industry news, like I said, podcasts, lives, interviewing people. And that just sort of kicked it off. People just started to feel safe, and more people started inviting other people into the group. And it's just incredible, that level of interaction from a group that just was facilitated with the idea of support.
Tell us about, you mentioned there a little bit about your background. Tell us about your experience. What led you into ultimately doing what you do now?
Sure. So I started in bar work at a young age, moved into restaurants, and in that bar scene, I had the privilege of working with some amazing people at some award-winning venues, which was amazing. Went into restaurant work when I was around 22 and was studying at the time, and finished a degree in business marketing, and stayed local around my hometown, Wodonga, and then moved into cafes. Always had a love for coffee, and then that led me up to about 5 years ago, where I started to create MasterHost, which is my consultancy business. And I knew enough in the industry to be able to give back at this moment, and with obviously the marketing degree, I wanted to combine those things together and create this consultancy business where I can help grow their business from a marketing perspective, whether it's online, offline, and just how to create amazing customer experiences with today's customers.
So with the rise and, in a lot of senses, overabundance of marketers in the world, how have you managed to differentiate yourself in that market?
Sure. Good question. It's true. There are a lot of digital marketers out there and a lot of support networks for business. For me, it's just about experience. I mean, all I know is the hospitality industry. as of next year, I'll be 20 years in the industry. Combining that with my business marketing degree, I knew that I could deliver a very specific service. I don't consult with any other business type. It's purely hospitality. And the difference is I've been in those businesses. I've been with the owners. I've put those strategies in place, the ones that went well, the ones that didn't go well, and I've just kept learning and adapting. And it is a different space in the hospitality scene to digital marketing, because the digital marketing space needs to be a reflection of the business itself. And to truly be a good business to help them, you need to understand the business on a really core level. And I find that a lot of digital marketing, they might be great at advertising a certain idea of the business, but until they actually understand the business as a whole, being in there, understanding the grind, understanding the people within it, I think that's the challenging part for them, and that's where I can differentiate myself, definitely.
What are you learning about or exploring at the moment, Josh?
Ooh, good question. For me, it's learning about businesses and startups in the hospitality scene today. So what they're doing now, how they're breaking in, and learning about what's making them different. Because at the moment, the industry is completely saturated, especially from a cafe perspective. I think currently we're the biggest cafe per popular place in the world. So, and what that's doing, it's forcing people to sort of look outside the box of just say coffee or just say serving drinks or just say serving food. They have to have an edge, something they do the better, and how they advertise that and publish that is really putting them ahead of the competition. And it's really just keeping their head above water and saying, okay, I'm the go-to place. And that's what I always try to do, is try to create a service for the business. How can we make you the pinnacle of your particular field?
Yeah, well, it makes me, your answer there makes me think of, and I've mentioned this before on the show, but Seth Godin refers to the purple cow and having this idea that stands out. So I guess part of what you do is working with businesses to, when you're doing your consulting, to find that purple cow for them.
Yeah, absolutely. Like the social space is so busy to really get noticed. I mean, you look at your own Facebook feed now. Look at the things that you scroll past. Look at the things that catch your attention. We're getting very picky with our time and what we look at online. So that's a big part. You need to have an element that sort of breaks through that, something different. And, I always refer to social media for hospitality. Like it's an incredible tool. It's made for Instagram, especially, is made for hospitality.
Why is that? Because it's visual?
The visual. Yeah. Visual. It's all visual. And then you've got the stories element, and people want to be involved with that. But the thing with the social media space or the digital space is that it's twofold. You can have an amazing social media campaign, but if your in-house experience isn't up to scratch, it's really all for nothing. You can get attention 100%, but what creates a business and what makes it successful is that ongoing loyalty, the cash flow, keeping those people coming in once they arrive. So the digital space is one, but then we look at the internal management as well. It's like we can get people in for you, but we've got to manage them as well once they come in. So it's very important to be able to do both of those things well.
So when they come in, so say you've attracted someone, so obviously social media and digital methods allow us to reach people that we've never been able to reach before, 100%. Right? Yep. Extend our reach beyond any other previously understood length, especially hospitality being such a personal, direct industry. Your interaction is human. It's very human. And the digital world has allowed us to reach people beyond that. But how do you then use older school methods and integrate them with newer ones after someone has come in? How do you keep them on the hot plate? And how do you keep them ready to come back again, wanting to come back again?
Sure.
Or feeling like they need to come back again?
Sure. And it's a great question because a lot of people can do amazing things on social media and then fall short in the in-house experience. So number one is being accountable and making sure that you get the foundations right for hospitality, which is greeting people when they arrive, a smile, remembering their names, general compassion and care that they've arrived. It may seem obvious to you or I or other people in the industry, but you've got to understand from the customer perspective what they're experiencing. So you've sent out something on digital media on a new type of drink or a new death shake or whatever you want to have at the moment, whatever trends currently going on. And that's their interaction. That's their initial interaction. They're like, cool, this is exciting, this is different, I want to be a part of that. So when they come in, obviously keeping your team aware of what campaigns you're doing, we've got this launch on weekend, we know we're going to get a lot of people come in, and really educating them on the product once they come in. And then once they arrive, It's like, okay, they're expecting this when they come in. So I want really high engagement, I want really high enthusiasm, and I want you to know the product back to front or whatever service that they're publishing at the moment. And ensuring that not only they understand it, but, introducing ways to create ongoing discussions with that customer. So they've come in to try this new thing or this new product, or they've seen an event that's come up or something like that. I'm like, cool, they've come for that. I'm like, okay, now we need to get them intrigued on the next item. So always have something in the bank straight afterwards. So we've got this event, this is what people are going to come. They're already here, we've got them. Now it's time to talk about the next big thing. So get them in. So just keep them on the loop, keep them going. And I think we spend a lot of time creating these massive events. People come in, it's going well, everything's great. And then the next day we're like, okay, what's next? So you've got to be thinking sort of 2 moves ahead, have that next campaign ready with that in-house experience and just keep that loop going.
Yeah, being strategic with it, always being a step ahead. There was something there that you said about once people come in, you're offering them, a smile and a hug, right?
Yeah.
I'm reading Danny Meyer's Setting the Table at the moment, and he says that the first genuine hospitality interaction, and he has it in inverted commas here, but hospitality interaction is when we're born. The first experience that we have is a smile, eye contact, a hug, and food. And that is what all amazing hospitality is built on.
100%.
Really? And I just think that's the most genuine hospitality interaction. And it's interesting that you kind of pointed out a couple of those things, just made me think about that as well.
Yeah, look, it is obvious to a lot of people, but I think a lot of the time, people get caught up in the micromanaging, the nitty-gritty kind of things. And it's just like, you've got to walk through the customer's shoes. What are they experiencing? What's the first thing they're seeing? Who are they being introduced to? What product are they selling? How is that product being delivered? How are they farewelled? They seem obvious, but, the number one aspect that I see in what really holds back a lot of businesses in hospitality in Australia is their level of service. And you've only got to look at complaints and things. And I guarantee any complaint that you find will be very rarely on the product itself. It'll be on, this person was rude. I wasn't happy. I asked for this. This is what happened. They were late. People don't care about problems. They care about how you deal with them. And if you can handle problems well in hospitality, in my opinion, you're a star player, because that's when you're defined on the bad, not the good.
I had an episode a few back now with Adrian Easdown on That Bad Review. And you guys know each other as well.
We do, yeah.
Did you listen to that episode? I
did.
It sort of ties in there as well.
Absolutely.
But it was, if you want to listen to that, go back and check it out. It's an earlier episode on the show. But it was interesting there thinking about reviews as well, and review, how much reviews can tell us about or how they can be used as a mechanism to gauge how things are doing.
Especially for new customers. So you've got to really establish how people find out about your business. What are their first impressions? And it's normally from a digital perspective. They're searching online. So the way we look for businesses, especially in hospitality, we'll immediately go to our social circle. And if we can't get an answer from that, we'll go online. So we'll type a place, we'll go bars in Brisbane, for instance, and it'll pop up with a list of bars. And obviously the Google reviews come up first, because it's a Google search if you're using Google. And it'll come up with all the star ratings and everything, and we'll click on it and we'll have a look at the reviews. And I guarantee you, if there's 100 5-star reviews and you see one 1-star review, I guarantee you're going to click on the 1-star, because we're almost shooting to want to find, it can't be that good. What's wrong about it? Let's have a look. And, if you can handle complaints not only in-house well, but online well, you're doing very well. So it's really making sure that you identify what people's first impressions are for newbies.
One of the difficult things to do, though, is gauge how people respond to marketing campaigns, especially if they're bouncing. You don't know why they're bouncing. Is there a way that you've found that we can deal with this sort of thing? Is it, interacting with people whose friends have not come for a reason? Or is there a way that you found around the fact that we can't engage with people at a certain point? Or is that just too far out of reach?
I think you've got to really watch how much you stretch yourself, how far you're willing to go down the rabbit hole to find that sort of dead end.
Yeah.
With that experience or event. I think with social media, how incredible it is at connecting people and products together. We're still craving that personal connection within that group. And when I run events with certain bars, cafes, and restaurants, we can see the statistics, we can look at what went well and what didn't. And, I try not to go too far into what went wrong, what could we have done better. For the next campaign, it's more like, okay, we put this out. We've got this many people going. We've got this many people turn up. Just look at it as a percentages. So, okay, cool. And then for the people that turned up, I would do the occasional random, hey, so great to have you here. Just a template or something like that, just saying, hey, so great to you. Did you know that we've got this next event coming up? And really targeting certain people from that campaign. I mean, you're going to burn a lot of time trying to figure out why people didn't turn up. You focus on the people that did, because the chance of them being a repeat customer are pretty high.
Mm-hmm.
So I try not to focus too much on why certain people didn't show up. I focus on the people that did and sort of create campaigns. An example would be for a cafe promotion that we did for a cafe. We did a breakfast and coffee special, and we had people turn up, and we went through all the people that accepted and came in and claimed it. And obviously through social media, we found their Instagram accounts, and we're like, wow, these 5 people have 7,000, 5,000, 2,000 followers each. Cool. Let's target them now for the next campaign. It's like, hey, so great to have you at our breakfast deal. We would love to invite you and 5 of your friends for a coffee on us. And you're almost guaranteed that they're going to have a lot of friends of their own.
Mm-hmm.
They come in, they say, and when they arrive, says, hey, do you mind doing a shout out on Instagram for us? We love having you guys here. You guys are great. Like, yeah, cool. That's 25,000 plus people you've just promoted your business to. So
For the cost of,
5 cups of coffee.
done.
And 5 short messages.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming in, and that's it. And you that sort of marketing would have cost you thousands of dollars back in the day for that sort of clientele. So obviously all those people may not live nearby, but it's just really trying not to go too blanket approach with your marketing and really hone in on who are the people that can generate more spark in your business.
Yes. Something I want to make a quick distinction here as well, because we talked about, even there, I just sort of touched on the like 5 cups of coffee, right? The cost of 5 cups of coffee isn't, the revenue that you would make from those 5 cups of coffee. It's the cost price of that coffee.
Yep.
That's super low.
Yep.
Super low, right? And I've noticed that some people get pulled into the idea that it's the revenue.
Yeah.
It's the revenue is the amount, but it's actually the cost price of that coffee.
Sure. It's just reminding them how much that sort of marketing would have cost them back in the day. You can always look at it from a price perspective from a customer, but you'll drive yourself batty. Marketing, it can be difficult to sort of analyze the results of marketing. It's like customer service. It's somewhat difficult to measure, and with that sort of campaign, it says, well, how much are you willing to invest in attracting more people to your business? How much would you have paid back in the day for a news advert, for a magazine advert?
For a billboard, right?
Yeah, anything like that. How much would that have cost you? And I think, number one, when you start promoting on Facebook a lot more and Instagram, give yourself a budget. Say $100 a week, spend $50 a week, $20 a week. All the step-by-step instructions, you can do it. It's so simple and it's so easy. And always, in my opinion, you can give away things for free. Have 5 cups of coffee on us, but just be careful about discounting. So like 25% off, because the people that attracts are the people that will constantly want discounts in the future. But when you give something away for free, no one will expect that again. It's like a present. But when you start running campaigns online, and I see it a lot where people are like 20% off, 30% off, it can be a little bit dicey, because those people that come in are normally the people that will constantly want discounts in the future. But when you allocate a marketing campaign to something big, like, hey, the reason why we're giving you 5 cups is because you came in, had a great time, and we love that you were a part of that. Or, if you're wanting to increase trade or something, don't, avoid that kind of desperation style post. I know that sounds very broad and a generalization. No one wants to sound desperate, but like, you can always tie it into an event or something. So like, how many years have you been open? Have you opened 3 years? It's your birthday. Have an event. that will be your edge, that differentiation sponsored post on Facebook. Have you got a new barista? Cool. Introduce it. Come meet Glenn. He's just come on board. That can be a marketing post. He's doing specials. He's doing a barista course tomorrow night. First 10 people can come in on the house and meet Glenn, whatever it is.
Yeah, I like that. Discounting it, I guess, it makes it a race to the bottom.
Yeah.
It makes it, you're versing other businesses, other competitors and racing each other to the bottom.
Yeah.
Really? But if you do a free, instead of discounting, if you do something for free, then people know the value of that item.
And packages.
Yeah.
On that too. So like rather than saying, hey, coffee and cake it was normally this much, it's going to cost you this much. But if you say, hey, we're doing our Saturday bacon, eggs and coffee hangover hunger pack, you know what I mean? You can easily just put a price on that and not sound like you're looking for people that take advantage of a discount. So I think that's something to be really careful of when you do sort of events and discounts and those sort of things. Just be aware of what sort of message that's sending.
What innovations have you seen in the industry?
So it's easy to sort of say social media space because...
Especially from a marketing background.
100%. The thing with the social media space is that it's filling up. You've got to claim your position in that. Like I said, it's completely saturated at the moment. Even if you're on social media, that doesn't guarantee anything. It's you've got to stay afloat and you've got to stay ahead. So for me, definitely the social media game is number one. Number two is because we're so saturated, people are coming obviously for your product, but they're staying for the experience. And those experiences are created by the people within it. And I find that we are now in the age of celebrities in hospitality. So we're creating celebrities. People are coming back now and going, oh, I remember James, here, and he was awesome. He swung us these awesome cocktails. I hope he's working on the weekends.
Yeah.
He remembers me. The cafe, I know that, how many times now do you go to your local cafe and you know the barista's name?
Yeah.
Or you go to a restaurant and you know the chef or the owner, they're coming around. So I think because it's so saturated, people know they can get a coffee everywhere, they can get food everywhere, they can get a drink everywhere. Okay, so what's the next thing that's going to attract them to that business? And it's the people within it. It's the culture that they create. And, it's not so much an innovation, it's just more of a focus now. It's not on the product, it's who's delivering it.
Yeah.
And that's what people are connecting with now.
Which is what it should be as well.
100%.
But having said that, when I say what it should be, obviously the product is super important, but really we're a service industry. And it's the service that we provide. You can get that same product. And I won't mention any brands, but you could get the same bottle of whiskey on a different back bar, right? Anywhere in the world. Almost. I mean, there are differences, right? Basically, anywhere in Australia. Let's say there's a bottle of whiskey, you can get that on any back bar in any bar in Australia. But you go into different bars, you're going to get that same whiskey, but you're going to get a totally different style of service, or a totally different smile, totally different greeting, totally different farewell, totally different ambience. That's what you're saying there about service, right?
Yeah. So, there are a lot of factors that come into it. Obviously, location, access, they're all important. But we're not vending machines. You don't put money in, get a product and walk away. We're staying for something more.
That's right.
And when we talk about innovation in the industry, I think we're becoming a lot more specialised. We're doing a lot more specialised training. We're creating these celebrities, people who are really, are going above and beyond to fine-tune their skills. And that's what people want. They want that interaction of genuine care, that you're excited that they're coming in, you're excited to them to be part of you. They're creating a culture that people want to be a part of. They're not dictated by the customer. The customer is, inside their bubble.
Yeah.
Culture, and they want to be a part of that.
It's interesting there too, because, and I totally forgot to mention this before, but there's another episode I did with Asmar Gary that's called Branding for Bartenders, and he focuses on how to become an influencer as a bartender. That's what he does. He helps people become influencers in the bartending world. So it's interesting there, that's sort of this movement that's taking place. We've got influencers all over the place, but what you're saying there is becoming a mini celebrity. So it's this hospitality mini celebrity. And I know people follow me online. They just come in to talk to me. And I hardly even sling booze anymore because I'm managing. But I still, sometimes I like to jump behind the bar and bust out a few drinks. But that's part of it. People come to see you to be part of what you're doing because they like the product that you provide. And that product is a service, right? It's a product and a service. Part of your package that you deliver to someone who comes to visit you is something in their hand and a hug, smile, and eye contact.
And like you talked about earlier, that's the basis of the industry. But we need to do more than that. We need to go even further than that. We need to go deeper. And I use the example of a circus. I always pronounce this wrong. Is it Cirque du Soleil? Cirque du Soleil, yeah. Cirque du Soleil. So everyone knows Cirque du Soleil, and they know that they're going to get an incredible experience. They know because they've been there before. It was awesome. But when you go there, I guarantee they delivered on something more than you expected. And that to me is what this industry is all about. It's about selling tickets now.
Yes.
To the show. We're not in the hospitality industry, we're in the entertainment industry. And that's celebrities, they're your actors, they're your performers. And I spoke with someone about that concept of, celebrity status, and they're like, yeah, but all these celebrities are different. I'm like, yeah, but look at a movie. A movie is made with certain actors in mind to work well together. That's what businesses are now. It's just creating these celebrities, creating this movie, creating this show. And it's just about selling tickets now. Obviously, the in-house experience has to be absolutely spot on. It has to be more than they expected. It has to be something that they are willing to not only want to come back, but share with everyone they know. And it sounds like a lot of work. It sounds like, I need to do a lot more than what I'm currently doing, but it's all about allocating your time correctly. And so talking about what we just talked about, what's important right now. And the two things that are important is building your team really hard around your product, creating an unbreakable culture that when people come a part of it, they're like, I'm not getting a service or I'm getting something more, I'm getting an experience. Like I'm learning from these guys. I'm experiencing something more. I'm blown away by this. And that's why I sort of push people to focus their efforts on the internals, which is your team, creating cohesion, talking about it, what products. Don't put it all on your shoulders. It's not all up to you. Get your team involved. Ideas, what's working. Ask them what's working on social media. What trends are you seeing at the moment? Get the whole team involved. Be transparent. Don't be afraid to open up and be like, okay, guys, we need some ideas. Does anyone have any suggestions? And go with it. Because if you listen to your team, not only is that important, but if you create something from an idea that they've brought up with you, that's going to create an unbreakable bond with your team because now they're a part of the business, not just working for it. And the other part is obviously handling your digital space as well, which is super important. And that just amplifies that in-house experience.
Yeah, and I mean, I've found that invaluable talking to staff about external things like a digital campaign because they're, people, you got to think about it like they're inviting their friends in too. They're going to be like them. So what resonates with your staff, particularly the staff members who fit the demographic of your patrons, they're really, really important to listen to because they've seen the inside and they are the same demographic as the outside. So they're key people in the team. They're going to understand internally and externally what's going on. So I've found that incredibly valuable to be speaking with those sorts of team members because they just know what's going on.
Well, at the core of it, we all just want job fulfillment. We want satisfaction. We don't necessarily want a pay rise. It's about being cared for. And I think if you take anything away from what I'm trying to say here is utilize the idea of the word care because the word care carries so much weight to it when you're talking to people rather than saying, I'll do that for you or something went wrong, I'll do that. But when you say, I'll take care of that for you, when you talk to your team, I'll take care of that for you. That embodies a lot of weight of support. And the idea of care for me is what creates the good from the great. Being caring for your customer interaction and your team, because you need to have that balance of both to work well.
Josh, what's your creative process? So how do you make your ideas become a reality?
I gain inspiration from being in the environment that I love, which is hospitality. So my creative process is constantly surrounding myself with not only like-minded individuals, but people who are pushing the boundaries within their respective fields. What makes them tick, what makes them create that campaign, anything that makes me stop my scroll feed on Facebook is something that normally sparks a creative process.
How do you get into a state to really allow your creativity to flow?
I absorb a lot from feedback. So whether it's good or bad, no matter what I do, I always try to break it down into what made it work and what didn't make it work. And constantly in that mindset of I want to be better, I want to do better, I want to do more. And for me, creativity is sparked from your interaction, like we talked about, with people. I get inspired by people every day. And when I get feedback, when we run something well and you see that feedback, and I don't see the business anymore. I see that person. I see the fact that they're happy that they can put their kids through school, that they can pay off their home loan. That to me is my inspiration. I'm not just helping them grow a business. I'm helping them live a life. And as I said at the start, I'm all about people and understanding people and wanting to create amazing experiences. And I know that sounds somewhat cliche, but that's where I draw my creativity from. It's from everyone around me and the impact that I can have on people.
So I guess thinking about the way that I digest that is that you're thinking about, you're extending that beyond yourself and getting into this frame of mind that it's not just about you, it's about this larger impact. And then once you're thinking bigger, you're able to make bigger moves.
100%. The more I expand, like whether it's through the book, whether it's through the groups on Facebook, whether it's through my private clients, when I can create an impact, when I can see those results working well, that helps me think broader. It helps me, okay, this is going great here in Brisbane right now. What about if I did that for an Australian campaign? Would that work over in the US? Would that work in Singapore? I wonder how that would work. And just sort of putting the fishing rod out there and think, okay, let's give this a go now. I get creativity from creative people. It's as simple as that.
What's your biggest challenge right now?
So I'm in a constant race with myself to reach as many people as possible with what I want to share with the world through my services and products. So for me, it's wanting to build bigger, faster networks, more support networks than anything. It's reaching more people. It's how do I do that faster?
It's the number one marketing question in the world.
It's definitely from a marketing background, definitely. But it is because, like I said, I put a lot of weight on my shoulders of wanting to help more people. I want to have more of an impact and share because I know what I'm wanting to deliver to the hospitality community not only works, but it creates that safe mental space that they can be confident about the future. And that. When I see that happening, I'm like, I want to help more people, and it's probably just their network.
Do you think that the way that technology is going, it's going to be easier or more difficult to build that network? We've seen a lot of changes take place particularly with social media, that it could potentially become more difficult, even though we seem to be more and more connected with things. What do you think?
I agree. I think we will have access to more networks, to more channels, more ways to reach people. But the golden rule with any network building is how well you can communicate. It's all about communication. Like the network might be right there, but if you say the wrong thing or offend someone, that network's broken. So it's twofold: wanting to create people and wanting to improve myself to be able to communicate with people better constantly is super important.
How are you going about doing that?
So basically, I think when we talk about MasterHost, my consultancy business, I never go in with, here's what I do. Do you want it? Mentality. I definitely come in with the space that, hey, I'm seeing what you do. I'm enjoying it and I genuinely do. Like, I want to work with amazing people. And I say to them, like, I would love to have a chat and see if what I have on offer can help you grow your business and whether you would be a good fit for me too. I want to start a relationship and help you grow your business together. Would you be interested? And that's important to me to make that very clear from the start that I want to make sure it's a mutual relationship.
So ultimately then, where do you want to be?
I'd love to be in a bigger role in education. I would love to travel the world and speak at events and hospitality conventions and meet more people who are in the industry and speak on topics which I believe will help them grow their business and meet amazing people. So definitely from an educator point of view, definitely.
What's the next step for you in order to achieve that then?
Well, I believe that it's expanding network, especially with the book. I believe that would definitely help sort of hit more people and highlight to people that I am committed, that this is what I'm willing to do for the industry and I'm willing to invest a lot in it. Obviously, the book will be through hardcover, it'll be through audiobook, it'll be through ebooks and all those sort of things, And I believe that the book will speak for itself. I think it'll show people that I'm not only willing to help, but be with them through that whole long term, which is important relationship.
All right, then. So what is your next step? What is the next step for Joshua Clifton?
Well, the book launch is just around the corner and I am so incredibly excited. I'm nervous, even scared at times and with the book, but I know that when it does go out, it's going to reach a lot of people that I admire, a lot of people that I look up to. And I just want to meet more amazing people in this industry.
Yes, and you don't have a title for that. At the time of recording, we don't have a title for the book, but it is finished.
Yes.
It's finished. It's being edited at the moment, and it's coming out early 2019, which is likely to be same time as the release of this episode for those listening at home. This is October 2018, so it's nearly there. We're nearly there, but I've got a lot of episodes in the pipeline between now and then, and I hope that you have enjoyed them because they will be out by the time you hear this. Josh, my last question for you is, who would you like to hear on the show?
Ooh, I'm obviously going to speak quite highly of certain people, but I want you to get Jamie Oliver on here. I don't care what people say about him, whether you love him or hate him. I just think he is a genuine bloke who's doing amazing things. And if you ever get to that point one day to get Jamie Oliver on here, that would be an amazing person to meet.
Awesome. Well, I hope you're out there listening, Jamie Oliver. I'd love to have you on the show. Thank you very much, Josh, for being on. It's been awesome to have you as a guest.
Thanks for having me. Had a great time.
The show today was produced by Angus Brennan. If you'd like to know more about Hospopreneurs, for advice, insights, and extra content, find us at hospopreneurs.com. Thanks for listening.